three different methods are used to calculate or estimate at least the component cost of common equity. Keep in mind that even if a company is using retained earnings for projects, they still have to carry a cost because they don't belong to the company, they belong to the shareholders. So if you're going to use the money of the company, then it needs to also be making the shareholders additional money. So the first method is the capital asset pricing model. Formulas here. Take the risk-free rate and add to that the difference between the market rate less the risk-free rate, which is also known as the market risk premium, and you multiply that times the beta of the company. So it's rewritten here to be the risk-free rate plus the market risk premium times the beta will give you the required return of the stocks. The theory being that if you're using shareholder money, the return they're entitled to is equal to the risk-free rate, which they could get by simply investing in treasury bills, plus the premium they're getting for being in the market, which 10.5 minus 6% here, that would be 4.5% premium. And then we multiply that times the beta, which is a measure of how much risk that particular stock has. So we would take and use this formula. We would say this equals 6% plus the 10.5% less the 6%, and we multiply that times the beta. So we get 13.2%, and that would be one way to estimate the return you would need on common equity. The second way is using the discount model, the dividend discount model, which is the rearranged one that we have looked at it with some other problems earlier. And the formula is the required return is equal to the most recent dividend received times 1 plus the growth rate, and then we divide that by the price, and that'll give us a percentage, and then we add the growth percentage to that. Now if you had the dividend that's expected to be paid, or known as D1, then the formula simplifies, and you have D1 divided by the price, so $1.28 divided by 22, and then you just add the growth rate. So we'll do that here. We have $1.28 divided by the price of 22, and then we do that math, and then we add to that the growth of 7.5%. Get rid of some of these decimal places, and we get 13.32. If the dividend is the expected dividend of, or I'm sorry, the just most recently paid one, or DO, then we just take the formula, we take the DO times 1 plus the growth rate, so 1.075 divided by the price, and then we add to that the growth. Add another. So that's what that looks like. We have in parentheses $1.19 times 1.075, 1 plus the growth rate. Divide that by the price of 22. And then you take all of that inside of parentheses and add the 7.5%. And in this case we're dealing with basically the same number, so 13.31%. The final method is the easiest one. You determine a premium over the amount of what the bonds are, and you simply add it. So if your bond are yielding 10%, then you add the risk premium to it. So in this case we get 14%. Generally this bond risk premium ranges from 3 to 5%. So our next step then would be to add those three estimates up and divide then by 3 to get an average overall. So our average overall would be the 13.2% that we calculated using capital asset pricing model. Add to that the estimate using dividend discount model. Add to that the risk premium model, and then divide those three numbers that have been added together by 3. And then you have the estimate that you would use, and your weighted average cost of capital would be 13.51%.